All right, welcome to Crushing Brevard. Today we have Jason Duff of Jason Duff Construction. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Excellent, excellent. And I hear you're the guy to go to if your condo needs a roof.
We do a lot.
Or your condo complex and all this stuff. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe how you got here, a little bit about the construction game, and then we'll just kind of go from there.
Well, I'll start in 2004. I had a friend of mine. I was living over in Orlando at the time, and he invited me to come over. He had actually been over to my house and saw that we were putting an addition on because my family was growing. And he says, "Well, who's doing all the work for you?" And I said, "Well, I'm doing it as a owner builder because my, I've done this with my dad a few times growing up, and he was impressed that I was able to do it."
Okay.
And he said, "Well, listen," because he owned a construction company here in Brevard. He was born and raised here. And he said, "Why don't you come over and work for me and help me grow my business?"
Okay.
And at the time, I had a corporate job, which we'll double back on in a little bit. But I told him, I said, "I don't think you can afford me because I'm doing pretty good."
Okay.
And so he says, "Well, why don't you let me be the judge of that?"
Okay.
And so he said, "Why don't you just come over and spend a week, see what you think, and if you like it, then we'll work it out."
Okay.
I said, "All right." So I took a week off of my corporate job. Came over and stayed at his house for a week, and we had a great time. He showed me the ropes, and I fell in love with the area.
Yeah.
Because I was born and raised down in Jupiter.
Okay.
And this reminded me of Jupiter when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Not quite as sped up as down there.
Yeah.
So I really fell in love with the place, and I went home and had a very long conversation at the time with my wife, and we both agreed, hey, let's throw caution to the wind and let's take a chance. So came over here, like I said, in June of 04, and by August, I think we'd had 3 or 4 hurricanes lined up out there.
Good timing with that.
Yeah, so things went really well. Money was literally falling from the sky.
Yeah.
And we basically did 3 or 4 years of solid work just from those hurricanes. And after the second year, he made me a partner in the company. And brought me on board, and we were doing really well together, doing really good. And then in 2008, he tragically died of a heart attack.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
Yeah, he passed away on a job site. He wasn't under any physical duress or anything, but it just was his time.
Okay.
And so at that point, that is when I had already been working on getting my own licensing together. And at that point, I took the leap of faith and kept the guys that I wanted to keep, and kept the train rolling and got everything organized underneath myself. And started my own company, and I've been doing it on my own since 08, so wow. 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Holy cow, man! That had to be a crazy day.
That was
when you get a phone call. You're like, hey, by the way,
Yeah, that was.
Holy cow!
That was a tough day that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not that's sort of similar story. Just jump in here. Like my best friend of 38 years was in Vegas for the NCAA tournament 2 years ago, and just didn't wake up.
Wow.
And kind of got me kick-started in life. And so I don't live in Minnesota anymore.
Yeah.
I don't work at a corporate job anymore. So same kind of thing. But so I can relate to that. Just that phone call must have been ugh.
I didn't believe it at first. I thought, because in our office environment, we were all pretty hard on each other, and we would pull some pretty bad pranks and jokes, and I thought that was what was occurring. And I remember I was very angry, and I hung up the phone, and I was with a client, and I said, "That's probably not funny at all." And and then the phone rang again, and he said, "No, it's not a joke."
Yeah.
He literally, there was no resuscitation. He just dropped out on the job site. So that was a tough, you talk about a motivator. Yeah. Because, everybody in the business is then looking at me, are we still working? Do we have jobs? What are we doing? So I really had to scramble quickly to get things together so that we could continue to move forward.
Yeah, get things organized, get things legal, get things licensed,
exactly.
Get all the government stuff.
Exactly.
that everyone loves to do.
Right.
So you've been on your own for, gosh, it's 15 years.
Yeah,
okay.
this year 15 years.
Okay. So what kinds of stuff do you specialize in, I should say? Because you said you're a general contractor as well. So
correct.
You can do soup to nuts if you want to, but
absolutely. We're very, I always tell my guys, let's not do everything. Let's do what we do best, and try to focus on that. So that's going to be roofing. That's going to be shingle, metal, tile, commercial flat roofing. And then also with the general contractor's license, I do a lot of renovation and repair for property management companies.
Okay.
So for condos and things that are having structural issues, we'll go in and make those repairs for those clients, and that keeps me pretty busy.
So what kind of level are you looking at when you, and maybe let me explain real quick so you can understand what the hell I'm saying, because right now it's confusing as hell and it's in my head too. If it's like this building that we're in,
right?
If the owner of this place called and said, "Hey, I need a new roof," you come over and do this.
Yes.
But like a homeowner, do you do that too?
Absolutely.
And so like if the college called and said, "Hey, we need a new roof on," you do.
I'd have to scramble to find some help.
Okay. All right. So that's what I'm trying to get at. So
yeah.
you do kind of small to pretty big.
Yeah.
And if you had super big, you could do it, but you'd have to organize some stuff.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay.
Most of what we do is residential and small commercial.
Okay.
So, as a matter of fact, right across the street from here, the Towers Management Group, we built the entire facade on the front of that building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, several years ago, because it was. I forget what year it was built. I think she said it was like 1917, and there was a false front on there made out of hardy board, and they wanted to take it off and go back to the brick. But when we started to demolish the hardy board, the bricks literally started to fall off the front of the building.
Oh.
So we basically tore the entire front of that building down to the ground, reframed it, and then rebuilt it, and now you get what you got there.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So so you're accessible to if somebody says, "Oh gosh, I need a new roof," or storm comes through and there's some damage. They call up Jason Duff Construction and
absolutely
get a quote. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Yeah, because we have some people. The scale of their business is outside of. They're doing like. The Superdome or something like that. You're not gonna do a house.
I'm not gonna bid the Superdome.
No. All right. Good. Good idea. So you said you're a Jupiter. You're a Florida guy.
Yeah.
You're from Jupiter.
Yeah, third generation, born and raised.
Okay.
Yeah, went to Florida State.
Okay.
And that's so out of school. It was one of those things where I wanted to go to law school, and by the time I graduated my 4-year degree, I said, I'm just going to take a year off. And that year, I spent pretty much that entire summer in the Bahamas fishing.
Okay.
And so, and literally, my buddy would call me up and he'd say, "How much money do you have in your pocket right now? Do we have enough to fill the boat up to get there?" Yeah. And we'd literally go over and we'd shoot fish and get lobsters and conch and sell them and keep it going. And my dad, I came home from a trip one day and my dad says, "Hey son, you've got a 4-year degree. It's time for you to find a job." I'm like, okay. And he said,
"That's fair. Yeah,
this is true. This is literally the truth." Yeah. He said, "I don't care if you go to Macy's and sell clothes. You need to go find a job." Okay. I went to Macy's and sold clothes.
That's hilarious.
Because I got to meet lots of women there. I was young at the time. So anyway, I started really looking for a real job, and I landed at the South Florida Water Management District doing public relations.
Okay.
And so they transferred me up to Orlando. And
what's your degree in?
My degree is in political science.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I just landed with the right person who saw something in me and took me under his wing at the Water Management District and says, "Leeward, you're going to start doing public relations now."
Okay.
Okay. Because I'm a pretty good writer and I can get along with things like that. So started doing that, and they transferred me to Orlando. And I tell you, I got to say that was probably one of the most fun jobs that I've ever had. Okay. The only problem is it's a quasi-governmental job and it paid absolutely nothing. Right. We got to, especially with the public relations component of it, got to meet people from all walks of life, from all over the world, who were coming here to see the projects that we were working on. Okay. So and there
were a lot of them. Orlando grew like crazy.
Yeah, but I mean everything from restoring the Kissimmee River, which connects Orlando to Lake Okeechobee, and then the Everglades Restoration Project, and all these things that were environmental projects that were going on. People from around the world wanted to come see because we were on the cutting edge of environmental restoration in that sense.
Yeah.
And so got to meet, heads of state, senators, congressmen.
Oh, wow.
I mean, people that you couldn't imagine, meeting. And the cool part was you were usually doing it in an airboat or a helicopter.
Yeah.
So it was super fun.
Yeah, it wasn't. You weren't in a stadium with them. You were in a box.
Yeah,
a very small box.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, okay.
Exactly. And so I did that for a while, and then again, that was about the time that I got married, and it's like I need to start making some more money here. Mm-hmm. And so I applied for a job at Sprint.
Okay.
And I became their director of media relations for all the state of Florida.
Okay.
And that was a fun job too, because it brought me back to Tallahassee because we served that area. Mm-hmm. So, whenever the legislative session would be here, I'd go up there for that, and mm-hmm. we'd go to football games and stuff, and it was great. But it just started to get really stale for me.
Okay.
The corporate environment, because I reported when I first started there, I reported to the vice president for the state of Florida.
Okay.
They took us away from them because there were only 5 of us around the country.
Okay.
So they took us away from our vice presidents and put us underneath one person out in Kansas City. And so
fun.
Yeah, so that changed the whole gamut.
Yeah, the dynamic kind of
and it was like
went sideways on you.
And then that was when I was doing the house, the addition to the house, and that's when
mm-hmm.
I met John, and he brought me there.
Okay.
And even since I've been here, I've dabbled in fun little things like I used to coach a lot of sports for my kids.
Okay.
This woman that I coached her son in baseball, and she says, "Well, I have a radio show on ESPN out here in West Melbourne." She goes, "Would you like to come in and sit in and do a show with me?" And I said, yeah. So we went in there on a Saturday morning, did a show, and at the end of the show, her producer called her and says, "You need to get in permanently."
There you go. Nice.
So we did that for about 2 years. That was super fun,
So what was the focus of the show?
Just talk sports.
Just general. It could have been soccer or hockey or football.
We would literally, like on the Friday night before, I would get on the internet and just look at what the hot topics were for the week, and we print them out. And we'd sit in there and we had a 2-hour format and just sit and talk and mostly laugh. I think that was the biggest part.
Huh. All right, so you've done it. You've had headphones on before.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, so they don't bother me.
Yeah. So you were with Sprint, and then so you went from Sprint to the construction.
Yeah. So it was my buddy John Shockey. He was born and raised here, mm-hmm. and like I said, he's the one who brought me into it and gave me a shot at it. And the thing that I got to say is when I in the corporate structure, the corporate format, especially with the position that I had, I was privy to a lot of information that was not
to general
disseminated amongst the regular people of our employees. About what's going on. Are they selling? Are they trying to sell the company? Are they doing this? Are they doing that? And people would always try to pin me down.
Right. Hey, what have you heard about? I heard the rumor about this. Is that true?
Or why are we not getting raises this year?
Yeah.
Or why is our CEO getting an $8 million bonus, but we're not getting anything? Those kind of things. And I always hated it. I hated it. And then when they turned over our structure and put me out underneath somebody in Kansas City, and they almost tried to make us more of instead of public relations, they were making us more of a marketing arm.
Oh, okay.
And trying to come up with these crazy things to pitch to the media to get free publicity.
Yeah.
And it just didn't sit well with me. And that was the one thing about when I came here to do construction. I always felt good about how I would leave my clients.
Yeah.
And because it's just a very satisfying feeling when you go in, you do a good job, it looks great, and they're happy.
Yeah.
And I will tell you right now, 90% of my business is referral based.
Okay.
So that for me that says a lot, and that's something that John always hammered home with me.
Yeah.
Was that nobody will say anything good about you, but 100 people will say something bad about you.
Right.
So make sure that you always do a good job and above and beyond. And
right. Yeah. If you got a good story, you tell like 2 people. If you got a bad story, you tell everybody.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. So that's something that has really settled in with me, and I preach that to my employees, all the time.
I may do that myself here. So yeah, the good ones get a great meal, 5 stars. And the bad, well, we won't go there.
No.
There aren't any bad ones there.
No.
That's better. Right.
No, it's all good stuff.
Yeah, that's. So do you have to? We both get ratings and reviews online.
Right.
Do you ever read a couple of them and be like, "Good Lord, like what's going on?"
I
do. So
occasionally I'll see one, and I'm not saying this to be pompous in any way, shape, or form, but I will say they're very rare, very few and far between. And again, when a situation presents itself where I'll give you an example. I have a client that we did a metal roof for them, but it tied into an older flat roof.
Okay.
They didn't want to do the flat roof.
All right.
Did the metal roof.
Yep.
So 2 years after we did the roof, I get a phone call that the roof's leaking. So I go out there to take a look at it, and I said, I'm pretty sure it's not the metal roof, And I said, can I do a water test? No, we don't want any more water in here. I'm like, all right, well then you're kind of handcuffing me on how I can help solve this for you. So we get the 2 hurricanes this year, and they had a little bit of water intrusion. Yeah. She calls me again. And now technically, the way that my warranty is written, anything over hurricane force winds because
all bets are off.
Yeah, because my manufacturer can't, my supplier can't give me a warranty.
Guarantee,
so how can I warrant their products when they can't give me a warranty?
Right.
So anyway, she was very snippy, and very short with me, and her husband had actually posted something on my Facebook page, or my construction page. Yeah. And so I reached out and I said, listen, I'll come see you. We'll take a look at it. So I said, but you've got to let me do a water test. Yeah. So, and in case it went south, I brought a copy of the warranty and was just going to slide it over and say, sorry, but you can't do it.
We're going to agree to disagree and be done, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so it went very cordial. Okay. But I let her know. I said, I brought this in case this didn't go well. Yeah. Because at the point she said, well, I'm going to call the state about your license and this and that.
Go ahead.
And so, really. And I didn't feel threatened by it at all, But I said, but I'm not that guy. I'm here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I brought this in case it went bad, but I'm here. And it turns out it was her flat roof.
Quick story. My son took the side mirror off his car, like just backing out and just ripped it off, And on my car, he backed out and took my car. So I went and got it fixed. And then like 3 weeks later, I'm driving to work and the thing just starts to fall off the car. And I'm like, these guys just did a crappy job. Yeah. I call up the guy who did the repair. I'm like, you messed this up, Yeah. And get home and taking a walk around the neighborhood and walking up and I look and I see my son, the taillight in his car is broken. I'm like, poor guy. He must have gotten hit in the parking lot at the school. Yeah. And then looked down on the ground right by where my car had been parked, and there was broken glass there. I'm like, he must have So I got to call the guy back and be like, it wasn't you. It was me. I'm going to be indicted for murder because I'm going to kill my son. So we all end up on different sides of that sometimes, but. It just doesn't seem like it could possibly happen, but then it does. So, what do you like to do for fun?
Oh man,
obviously fish. Apparently,
that's pretty much that's my passion.
That's it. Okay.
That's the one thing that gets me fired up.
All right.
And
what do you like to fish for?
Offshore. Man.
You go out?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. How far out do you go?
Well, we go to the Bahamas quite a bit. We'll.
That's pretty far.
Yeah. It's about 200 miles from Melbourne to where we go. Okay. So by boat, it takes about 5 hours. Okay. 5-6 hours. But I love everything from just going straight out tuna fishing to bottom fishing and this is getting to be that prime time of year. From about end of March, April through the 1st of June about. Okay. So we can go out here and catch a dolphin in Wahoo but that tuna fishing, and to me that's a whole different. I love it. you're on a boat, you're looking for packs of birds, and you've got a radar going, and you don't see them, but the radar sees them.
Yeah.
So you race to them, and you're seeing these big giant submarines jumping out of the water.
Oh my gosh.
And then you scramble to put everything out, and then all of a sudden, like 5 rods go off, and it's just absolute mayhem. That just gets my heart jumping out of my chest.
But you have your own boat, I'm assuming?
I did for a while, and I've found that it's better to have friends with boats.
There you go. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I was hoping I was making one, but darn it. What are you going to do?
Yeah, no, they're a lot of work and a lot of maintenance, and the boat break out another 1,000. That's
when we were in Minnesota, my wife and I, we joined one of the boat clubs.
Yeah.
And those were great.
Yeah, my buddy's a member of one here, and he really enjoys it.
You pop down, they push you off the dock. When you come in, they catch you.
Yeah.
You take your cooler off. They're like, "Thank you, Mr. Carter." I'm like, "Here's $10. Thank you."
Yeah. The only unfortunate thing for me is those aren't able to do. But
that's true. Yeah. Well, friends. If you're friends with boats, that's good too.
Yeah. And we've got a big tournament coming up in May that a lot of people here. It's called the Bahamas and Back Tournament.
Okay.
It usually draws about 100 people from right here in Brevard, and we go over to Green Turtle Cay in the Bahamas and stay there. And it's a wahoo dolphin tuna tournament. Okay. But everybody, just almost every year somebody catches a marlin or just, something like that.
Something cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I've only caught a white marlin. I've never caught a blue or a black. So that's still on my to-do list.
There you go. Now, is there a fishing license for deep sea fishing or no?
Just your regular Florida license.
Okay.
And then when you go to the Bahamas, when you check in and clear customs, you get a license.
You get a license there too. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not I don't fish.
Yeah. No. That's to me that I love it. And then I was learning to fly not too long ago. That was super fun.
Learning to fly.
Yeah.
Okay. Like what kind of airplanes?
Well, this was it's a buddy of mine. He's a pilot.
Okay.
And he was taking care of somebody's an attorney here in town had a twin engine King Air.
Okay.
And so he was teaching me to fly. Whenever we take it over for service, he would, give me the instructional stuff. And so right now I'm a kamikaze because I can take off and fly, but I don't know how to land.
Okay.
So, but I've actually thought about even pursuing that. Just want to get into my private pilot's license.
Yeah, you don't want to get that adrenaline rush when you're flying, though.
Yeah, nice and calm.
Boring flights are good.
Nice and calm, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. All right. How often do you get to do that type of thing? Is it just when the opportunity arises?
Yeah, when the situation comes up where he needs to, move it around.
Okay.
So, but not as often as I'd like. But he flies for I don't know if I should say, but he flies for a major carrier.
Okay, that's fine.
And he's like, man, you really got a good feel for this. So he's trying to get me to go ahead and pursue and get somebody to take over and they would start me again from scratch on a single engine. But something fun. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, no, I had a buddy who I don't know if he had a plane. He flew a plane.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe just a plane share or some, because I'm sure that happens.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people who can't afford planes, but they like to fly. Yeah, and he almost did the John Denver thing where he couldn't get the fuel to switch wings. Right. I think that's what happened to John Denver. He he couldn't get it switched over in time before he ran out of gas.
Yeah.
So he was like looking at the ounces of gas he had left.
Oh my gosh.
Got out of the seat and tore, terrifying. I would never fly a plane.
Yeah.
I get on flight simulators and I get scared.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I've always loved to fly. Though, I tell you, I got to say, I think the most exciting thing was when we used to fly in the helicopters, because it's almost like flying on a roller coaster. I mean, and the thing that I used to love is the pilots that we had down there at the time. This was many years ago. The pilots we had at the time, they were all ex-Vietnam fighter pilots.
Okay.
So they
like to move stuff around a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
And they because we had a King Air there and we had 2 Aerospatiale helicopters. Okay. And when we had somebody on board, a VIP on board, nice and easy, straight and narrow. But as soon as that person was out, we would fly those things, man. And I'll tell you a quick story. Yeah. I was up in Orlando and the helicopter was up there to pick me up because we were coming to meet Congressman, I believe it was Congressman Weldon at the time.
Okay.
And him and his chief of staff, we were taking him down the Kissimmee River to show the restoration project. And so he picks me up at the Kissimmee Airport that morning, and it's a foggy morning, and we take off. We're flying out over Lake Kissimmee, and we hit the Kissimmee River, the channel, the ditch there. And so there's some guy up ahead of us. He's probably doing 60 miles an hour in a bass boat. And we're like 500 feet off the deck, you know, and Tommy looks over at me and says, "You want to do something fun?" And he dropped that thing down to about 50 feet off the water. And you know, you had the glass floor there. And I remember looking through that glass floor as we came over top of him, and he didn't realize we were there until like we were right on top of him.
He's like,
and he looked up, and his eyes got about that big around. And I swear, to God, we laughed all the way down to where we landed, meat Congressman Weldon. That was the funniest thing I think I've ever seen. But I used to love flying in those helicopters, man. They were a lot of fun.
I don't know if I've ever been. I don't think I've ever been in a helicopter. There's a lot of people talk about helicopters today, and it's good. But I don't think I've ever been in one.
They're to me, like I said, it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah, well, you can do so much. Like you could. Yeah, it's not a plane. You got to go a certain speed or you fall out of the sky. Or, a helicopter you can park over somebody and scare the crap out of them.
Yep, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Jupiter here. What do you like to do other than is there anything other than fishing you like to do? Or
well, you know, my kids. You know, just focusing on them.
How many? How old?
I have a son and a daughter. My daughter's 23. My son's 22.
Okay.
And I'm waiting for the phone call or the Mr. Duff, can we meet? Conversation. Because
all right.
Yeah, my daughter's dating. She's been dating him for a while. He's about to graduate from West Point.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
nice.
I mean, what a great kid he is. Yeah. And she's already informed me that he's getting ready to get his first assignment as a lieutenant, and that's going to be in Lawton, Oklahoma. So my little Florida girl is going to Lawton, Oklahoma here pretty soon. So I'm waiting on that on that to happen.
Save money.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they both live over in Tampa, and they love it. You know, it's for them, and I'm sure they'll come back to appreciate this place at some point. But for them, it's a city, and they want to live in a city.
Well,
you know,
and you got to get away from what you know. I mean, if you never leave any place, you don't have an appreciation for it in the first place. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't even know what you have.
Exactly.
So nice. Well, that West Point. There you go. That's
good.
That's a good guy.
Yeah.
I was born there.
Were you really?
Yeah. My dad taught chemistry at West Point when I was born. Yeah. So.
Small world.
Well, quick story. He was first day of chemistry class. He's doing the roll. He's like, Mr. Adams, here, Mr. Baker here. Gets down to this name. He's like, somebody help me out. Like, what is this? And the guy goes, it's pronounced Krzyzewski.
Oh gosh.
It's Mike Krzyzewski.
No way.
Yeah.
He's like, there's only a few of them. Man.
He's like, because everyone calls me K.
Okay.
Goes, all right, Mr. K. That's your name from now on. So then he turned it to Coach K.
Wow,
so,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah, it was Bobby Knight was the coach at Army then.
Okay.
And Krzyzewski was his point guard. It was crazy. So I just dated myself. Now everyone knows how old I am.
Yeah. Well, you know, funny story. It's so funny that you said that because my dad played football at Palm Beach High School and then went to play at Wichita State.
Okay.
And Bill Parcells was his center.
Really? That's hilarious.
Crazy stuff, right?
It's kind of cool when people you run into a roadblock of talent, right? You're not going to be in the NBA. You're not going to be in the NFL.
Right.
But what do? You learn you love the game enough that you learn to do stuff. And I mean, you said you coached your kids. I coached my kids, but I coached them to the point where they needed to like know more than just the rules.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't any good anymore.
I was a fairly good baseball coach. I played for quite many years. But, but my son, he you know, it's funny. You see them change as they grow, and you know, and I think when he hit about 12, 13, had to be almost 14. You know, he just said, you know what, Dad, I'm done with baseball. It's too slow for me anymore. Yeah. I'm just gonna when I start high school, I'm just gonna play football. Okay. And he was great. He was, you know, he actually played at FIT until they killed the program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you know, just seeing him change, you know, baseball's too slow for me. I think it's even starting to be too slow for me.
Well, I told every one of my kids, I'm like, you're all decent athletes.
Right.
Decent. but if you're the best player on our team, we're screwed. They're all like, yeah, Dad, okay, yeah. It's true. We're not winning anything.
Right.
If you're the best talent we have a problem.
Yeah.
We need some help. So it's good to have, honest conversations with your children about their abilities.
No, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
Father of the Year award. I have several Father of the Year award stories that I like to break out every once in a while. That's one of them where I tell my kids, this isn't going to work. Is there anything you want to? I mean, you don't do specials, and you don't have it's just people need a roof and they call you.
Yeah,
or they need something. They call you,
so. And a lot of times people don't even realize that they have issues until they see the stain on the ceiling.
Yeah.
So but I'm always if somebody has questions or hey, I have concerns about my roof. I don't know how old it is. I don't know, and I'll tell you, the insurance industry is really starting to drive the roofing industry. Because a lot of insurance companies are not renewing if a roof is a certain age.
Okay.
And so those are a lot of the phone calls that I'll get. Hey, I've been notified by my insurance company that
my roof is X years old.
And the number that I keep hearing from the insurance company is 14 years.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah, which
Yikes.
that's a very short. And I've looked at a lot of roofs that are 14 years old and go, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this roof. And then I've looked at some that are 14 years old, look like they're 25 years old. Well,
Yeah, it depends where they were in the path of the hurricanes that come through here. So,
Right, and so I'm always, if somebody needs help or you need an evaluation, a lot of times I do the wind mitigation inspections.
Okay.
So if somebody needs help, I can give me a call and I'll come out and help look at it for you. And I don't charge for those things. I won't say I do it because it builds people's awareness about me and the community, and they may say, hey, well, he didn't try to sell me a roof when I didn't need one, and now that I need one, that's an honest guy.
I'm going to start with
that's
that
an honest guy that I want.
Yeah, I'll start there and see how that goes. Yeah. So
and it's funny. I just kind of went full circle with one client here. After the storms of '04, my former partner and we did a roof for her in, I think it was '05. And then after these two storms that we just had, so that roof was almost 20 years old. So after the two hurricanes we had this last year, she had some damage. And we went over and she says, you're the only person I thought of. She said, I want you to come do this roof for me.
Yeah.
And we just knocked her out a couple weeks ago, and she's thrilled to death.
Okay.
So
there you go. No, that's your reputation is everything in that business, because if you don't get that phone call, then you don't have a chance to even do the job.
Absolutely.
So, it's good to hear that you're striving with everybody to try and make them have a good experience.
Yeah.
We try to do that here.
Yeah.
People think it's weird. It's odd the times where I tap somebody on the shoulder. I'm like, hey, there's a couple seats can open up at the bar. They're like, thanks so much.
Yeah.
You didn't really have to do that. I'm like, we do this weird thing around here. We want our guests to have a good time.
Yeah, right.
I don't know why are you thinking it?
Right.
Like that I'm gonna get you to go spend more money over here. So that's good. But it's just your reputation is everything, and great talking with you. Great.
Yeah.
This has been awesome. And
yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. Yeah. We'll. If I need a roof, I know who I'm going to call now.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate the time.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
30.